And because I have hit the button, I know, John, your previous responsibility was to verify our liveness. Let's do that for old time's sake, man. Are we live or what?
We're live.
Definitely are.
Okay. Let's have an actual yeehaw this time, because before, I don't know. Let's have it.
Yeehaw!
That was better. Last time it was
Well,
like,
we were all sung.
yeah, let's have a yeehaw, and it was kind of like, yeehaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get back to Teddy's death. Yeehaw!
Yeehaw.
I think we
Nice.
pushed past that.
Well, welcome one and all to another episode of our Savage Worlds Deadlands-ish campaign, The Curse of Black Ridge Mine. This is episode, I think, 12. And last time it was an action-packed, shoot-'em-up kind of thing. Couple of announcements before we get started, I guess. We have broken down and we have created ourselves a Facebook page so that you can, I don't know, go on there and look at it. I don't know that we really put anything on there, but there is a page, so we'd appreciate it if you go like it. You don't even have to like it. You just have to click the button. There's also a private group that you can become part of. So you could converse with these fine folks and the other Myth Brigadiers. If you say something super funny or whatever, we'll send you a link. Byron might let you in. He's the admin for it. There's a 12-page application, including a background check, a DNA sample, and things like that. We are opening a Patreon. Oh, finally, I guess, right? Myth Brigade, or I'm sorry, Patreon/Myth Brigade, where we will have things that you can do. So starting off, our first reward is going to be a player pack. So anytime somebody joins one of our campaigns, they get some stickers, a t-shirt, and some sort of sarcastic note from us. So, you know, if check it out in the weeks to come, and if you want to support the channel, that would be fantastic. If you don't, that's cool too. But at least we have one, so these guys can stop fucking telling me to make one. And with that, Byron, how are you, man?
I'm doing wonderful.
Why are you doing wonderful?
Well, because I have just a plethora of games and groups and things going on and working on new content for the channel, and just I'm really happy with a lot of shit I got going on right now.
That's awesome,
Night's
man.
Black Agents is going well.
Yeah.
Getting been really working on honing some planning styles, I guess, and tactics for how I run my stuff, and adapting, searching out new information from different places. To give a little plug to some books you could pick up on Amazon, Sly Flourish, the books for the Lazy Dungeon Master and the Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. Really, really good. Breaks down your style and like how to create games the way you want to create games, and doesn't make you put yourself in this box that you think you have to prepare a certain way. And it's done me a lot of good.
Nice. We should get a sponsorship from those people, so we can make our sense off of that ad that you just put in there.
Yeah.
John, without an H, how are you doing, man? How's the Stormtrooper? I think your camera angle's kind of accentuating his codpiece, if I'm being honest, but that's all right.
Oh, yeah, that's purely intentional. So work meetings, everybody has to stare at that while I talk.
I love it.
Going well. I mean, work is work, and I'm jumping back into Escape from Tarkov, so that's incredibly rewarding and frustrating if anybody out there has played that game. So I'm back on that horse, apparently. But yeah, living, surviving.
Were you streaming earlier, by the way? Like, I think I saw that you were
No, I've been pretty bad about that, and to be honest, it's partly due to this new monitor that I need to figure out how to do that. So that's my next obstacle to figure out.
Well, that's fantastic.
First world problems for sure.
Should put a ticket in with IT, right?
Yeah.
That's actually very cool, though. I'm glad. So we're like, you know, we're one achievement away from being Twitch affiliate, and that is just streaming often. So hopefully you guys will get us there with your other games and whatnot. But Len, what the hell? How you doing?
All right. Speaking of other games, I'm excited to have been working on the Din campaign stuff this week. Had some free time over my vacation from work, so I did a little bit of legwork on that. So that is hopefully coming along at some point. So that's just been kind of the nice side project I've been working on over the past few weeks.
That's outstanding. How's the art going? Are you busy with commissions and stuff?
I definitely had a big one that I was working on. I kind of am still focusing on that right now. So one bigger project right now, and then kind of putting everything else on pause and seeing how that plays out. So
Right on.
working a lot,
Yeah.
which is good.
Outstanding. Well, we're glad you're here. And last but not least, Mike, what are you doing, man? Different lighting? I'm digging it.
Yeah, all the things. I've been taking my hand at COVID carpentry, and it's coming along. Been working on the epic finale to our Curse of Strahd campaign. We are just about to hit that sort of climactic sequence, maybe 2 or 3 games left. So that's been really exciting. Making sure that they really deliver there. Yeah, I mean, I guess work. It's just been very, very busy. I feel like lots of uptime right now.
Yes, no doubt about it. I think this is the longest, or I should say the shortest 3-day weekend I've ever had. Well, so I would be remiss, though, if I didn't give a shout out to Dr. Martin Luther King, right? So this is Martin Luther King Day, and I think we should, we obviously don't have any special content for it, but I wanted to at least say thank you, because based on his sacrifices and his passion, my kids didn't grow up with really any sense of racism at all, right? They live completely inclusive and sort of eyes open kind of lives. So, hats off to you, Dr. MLK. Thank you for all you did. And if the people that watch this stream, if you could just take some kind of action, like when you first see this video, like take away the homework of go do something to further that message, even if it's calling out, someone that you see misbehaving. So anyway, with that, I'm going to start some fun. You guys ready? You guys ready to do this? All right.
Yeah.
Very much.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Want to see how we're going to survive this?
Well, let me get my announcer voice on. Sorry if I cough. I'll try to go on mute. I think I'm probably coming down with the Rona. So, when last we gathered, the posse had gotten themselves into a lick of trouble when they ran into what God-fearing folk would refer to as an abomination underneath Ratchet Ranch. Why it was down there and what in the hell it was is still a mystery to this day. 2 things are certain, though. Dr. Alexander knows the answer to both of those questions, and thanks to Dobbs's gorilla-like grip and approach to tinkering, that damn thing is stone cold dead. Now, you'd think that'd be enough action for one day, but when our heroes emerged from the cave, wouldn't you know, they walked slap into a search party in one of the darndest chase scenes they'd ever seen. Of course, bullets started flying and high adventure ensued. Dr. Alexander had apparently fled the workshop on Old Murph and was blazing trails, or better yet, limping along trails through the desert, lobbing ghost rock grenades at his pursuers. Now, Teddy came through for Dobbs again, this time as a meat shield. Dobbs caused a high-speed horse wreck and wrapped the poor doctor around a cactus. Ash, of course, tried her hand at demolition after blowing someone's brains out of his left ear and took some rocky shrapnel to her face. Old Nate, well, he thought Ash had died for a minute, which led to one of the most awkward scenes we've had in this campaign so far. And then, of course, John conjured up some more of the devil's playing cards and saved old Nate's life as he was about to take a bullet to the back of the head. Despite all the shooting and exploding, things are still looking a little bleak. Of course, that's when Dobbs chucked a ghost rock grenade into the Futley's airship and shook the damn ground with an explosion. The flames and debris were just enough for the posse to slip out among the cacti and tumbleweeds and rattlesnakes deep into the desert. And so we begin. After about 4.5 very long days in the heat of the desert, little water to speak of, you find yourself at Maggot Gap, a little town perched on the edge of a jagged cliff overlooking a miles-wide bowl of pastel-colored sand. Settlement was founded by a legendary hunter and frontiersman by the name of Atticus Warner, who discovered numerous uses for a local creature called the sand maggot. Atticus served as the mayor for 10 years or so before disappearing mysteriously one night. Now, how do you know this? It's because John's been here before. Because, see, in the mayor's absence, it's become a bit of a hive for gamblers and ne'er-do-wells. The kind of place that John likes to visit. So, as we begin, you find yourselves sitting around a table in this sort of open air deck, if you will, just outside the saloon. You can see this on the horizon, the sort of mountainous terrain, and again, the promenade, which basically goes along this huge cliff. The moon is pretty full in the sky and is lighting up that sort of bowl of, sand, desert. No cactus, no nothing, just sand, like you'd expect to see in the Sahara. The waiter kind of walks up with his, he's got a little towel over his shoulder. He's got kind of this bad, dirty vest. Puts down a tray of tequilas. One for each of you. And this is where we begin. The doctor is there with you. Where would Teddy be? What would you have done with Teddy as you enter this town?
I mean, I don't think we would have left him with Murph, right? Like, that's not an option.
Yeah, you'd have ridden in. He would have been over, I believe he was on the horse with Dobbs.
Yeah, I mean, after the few days in the desert, I'm sure Teddy wasn't smelling quite the finest coming into town. Not that this town might even matter or mind, but I think we'd have to figure out what to do with that map. Maybe, hopefully, write it down, something like that, sketch it out, and then put Teddy to rest.
Do any of you have skills around art, such that you might accurately recreate the map that is on this person, scarified into his body?
What would that be?
You would. I'm trying to see where your trade skills are. I hate when you switch games. Let's get you could use smarts. We can keep it simple.
Okay.
That definitely sounds.
I mean, I've got some smarts.
I'll give smarts. Check.
So John, describe for me, please, how you go about figuring out as you're laying out the map there. How do you go about that?
Yeah, well, I go to the closest store and get a piece of parchment, as thin as possible one as I can tell, and pretty much hold it up to his body and try to trace the lines out of it to make sure I'm being as accurate and representative as possible. Gets a bit awkward at certain points when you have to fold the paper around things, but try my best delicately.
So I'm thinking this is a flashback scene, right? So as you're raising the shots of tequila to wash away this memory, our camera comes 100%. Back, and so he's blue and gray in places, and you've noticed this flies are starting to eat at his eyes and things like that. And he smells to high heaven. He's making Murph smell worse than Murph smells. So as you lay him out, he kind of crunches and crinkles and makes dead body noises, and you get a tracing that you think is basically right. And as you're doing that, you get up in there, right, where the X marks the spot, and you're holding the paper, and you'll be damned if you don't feel something rigid there. And let me rephrase that. Underneath the skin on his inner thigh, you feel something rigid there.
I'll kind of make sure Nate's maybe not looking over behind me, and I'll pull out a knife and just try to very delicately kind of make an incision to see if I can get wherever that is out.
Yeah, so your sharp knife kind of squeaks as it goes into the flesh, right? Because he's drying out. He's desiccating from time in the desert. So you kind of work your way around, and you'll be damned if there's not a very strange shard of metal. Looks almost like a tooth like maybe like a bear tooth or something as you pull it out, and it's got this sort of gross, rotten black blood all over it, as you slide it out.
I'm gonna just get my flask out and pour some alcohol over that right away.
Okay.
And then I'll kind of put that away for later and ask hopefully somebody more knowledgeable, maybe the doctor, about that one. As I'm making the map, I assume the finger is still pointing at Teddy, not the new map or anything like that.
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to make very certain I know where the finger is pointing and translate that to the map with a spade symbol on it. But I'm also going to put other card symbols, heart, diamond, clubs, around other places on the map. So in case somebody finds this, they don't immediately know X marks the spot type situation.
So the thing that so give me is there anybody standing over his shoulder watching this, or are you guys just kind of off letting him do this?
Nate's close by, but he's sort of looking off and just letting them do their thing.
Dubs, how about you? Are you present there? Or are you kind of watching and overseeing this?
Yeah, I'm probably looking because I'm interested. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I was like, John, I was like, do you think they might have somebody around here who does that, like that thing with the little big flash, and then you can get the little, like, I don't know, it comes out like on a picture type thing? Maybe you could just take one of those. Though I don't know how that works or anything. I heard it steals your soul. but Teddy don't probably got one now, so I guess it wouldn't really affect him.
Well, I'd be worried about other things in this town stealing her soul, but I personally, Dobbs, I really wouldn't want to show anybody Teddy at all to begin with. So let's keep him a secret while we're here. Trust me, the fella's here to have a scum and villainy. We're not going to be trusting anybody here if we can help it.
All right, God, don't trust anybody. Respect.
So as you're talking, John, you come back and you notice, now that you've pulled this thing out, very slowly, the scars are sort of fading. The texture that you're working with, starting from the focal point where you've withdrawn it, and the skin is getting even more gross. It's almost like it's decomposing maybe quicker, just looking somehow more putrid. As you pulled this out, you realize suddenly you're working against a timeline here, or you're going to lose your image.
Gotcha. Yeah, I will. Yeah, put that away in my pack right away and immediately try to, recuperate as much as I can and, get down everything I can, and then just kind of put that to the back of my mind for later.
Dobbs, I'm going to assume that you noticed. I have to assume that you notice. What the hell's that in Oregon? I was trying to give you guys bennies back. Take your bennies back, guys. So you put that, you start working. Give me an agility check and let's see how quickly you can sketch this out whilst being accurate. Damn. The dice are being kind to you today. So I guess for the podcast, we should call out the roll. What'd you roll, John?
13. Ooh, exploded.
A couple raises there. So you you sketch very quickly, and the adrenaline kind of kicks off, and you almost get to a point where you don't even remember that you're working with this decomposing corpse of Teddy, and very quickly you make your rubbing, and all's well. Takes you all in total probably about, if you want to get the whole map, probably about an hour to very quickly work. But you start obviously with a focal point, and so now you've got this this stack of papers that you'll have to remember the order of. So I'm assuming. Yeah,
I kind of write down basically like a suit of cards. Well, depending on if it goes that high, but 2 to ace essentially as far as the order.
Okay. So so you mark those in a way that you would, which is great, and stuff them away in your pack. And so you think you've got this map, and of course there's old dead Teddy grinning at you at this point, and it's almost eerie because his head's kind of cocked to the side and one eye is kind of moving a little, and you realize there's actually a fly under there just kind of digging, and he's like, hey, you sort of get grossed out, of course. Dobbs, what are you doing standing over his shoulder watching all this nonsense? What are you doing?
Well, I guess when you're done with that, we should probably get rid of the body. Do you want me to dig a hole?
I think that's a great idea, and considering the result of my prior actions, I would be, of course, willing to help in that process. I kind of call over to Nate. Nate, I think probably you're the best one to say a few words as we get this underway.
Yeah. Nate sees what you guys are doing and gives a very unusual hand in digging a hole, right? He's not really one to do manual labor if he can avoid it. But we do the deed and picks up a handful of dirt looking down at Teddy's decomposing body. Teddy, we started in a weird way. You were little more than a bounty to us, and by the end of it, well, you really were one of us. And God damn it, we're gonna miss you. He throws some dirt onto the grave.
You throw the dirt, and there's just this eerie silence there, and even in death, Teddy was always right there for you, And over Dobbs' shoulder, he took 2 bullets in the ass for Dobbs just a couple days ago. There he is, just for the worms to eat him. And so just as that happens, your glasses clink, and you sit back and throw this tequila back and feel the bite of it and the sting of it in your throats. What does Ash make of all of this, by the way? I neglected to ask. Ash, what you got the big scab from your burn between your eyes from your cigarette cherry, and what do you think?
Yeah, I think she's just pretty haggard at this point. Like she has had a really rough couple of days physically, and I don't think there's as much like emotion about what's going on with Teddy for her. She thinks it's a damn shame. She's not, totally evil, but I think she's kind of seen this happen more than once in her life, and just kind of is like a little bit more somber, kind of letting maybe kind of giving Nate like a pat on the back once in a while if she catches him like kind of staring and looking despondent. But she's generally just kind of keeping to herself and just keeping her mouth shut, watching the process, helping out where she can.
Nice. So you're sitting around this table. So John likely would have shared with you that this place is fairly famous for a number of reasons. One, people come here to hunt sand maggots. Good sized worm, roughly the size of an alligator for the small ones. Rumor has it that they come in larger sizes, but their pieces parts are particularly valuable. They make a great set of armor. Of course, these days people aren't wearing armor in the classic sense, right? But you can absolutely pad a duster with these things, and rumor has it can take a bullet. So there's that. Also, apparently the saliva of these things is an incredibly powerful narcotic, like peyote. Okay. There's the sound again. Wait,
I'm really hoping it's not me. I don't know if it is me. I don't know what's happening. So
for those who didn't catch,
I was muted this time.
Yeah, for those who didn't catch the preamble,
muted, but
Len spilled some stuff in her keyboard of her laptop. So this could get really interesting as long as you don't electrocute yourself, and So anyway, people do come here for that. And it was once fairly legitimate, but it's kind of fallen under the control of folks who basically kind of rule by power, right? So there's some heavily armed folks kind of floating around, real rough and tumble types here at this saloon. The outdoor deck, there's just a couple of kind of picnic style tables out there that allow you to look out over this promenade. The promenade itself goes probably about 25 yards worth of just kind of walkway with these oil lamps, people kind of standing there in small groups socializing and looking over the edge. So you have your shot of tequila. You are one corpse lighter. The doctor is there with you for a little while. I should have mentioned he looked a little bit like maybe the prototype of the Hellraiser costume for Pinhead after his encounter with the cactus. There were these sort of thorns sticking out of his head that had to be picked out probably by Nate, I'm guessing. He is there with you in his kind of brown, gross. It was originally white, but it was covered with blood, and now it's kind of brown and just nasty. He smells bad as well. Rotten blood. He's sitting there very silently sipping his shot of tequila, looking at each of you.
So kind of remembering back a few days ago, it kind of dawns on me, maybe the tequila finally woke me up out of it, but I pull the small metal shard out of my bag and asked the doctor and just said, Dr. Alexander, I totally spaced on it, but thinking back, I pulled this out of Teddy. I kind of glance at Nate, trying, like, feeling bad and embarrassed, but like out of his region in his leg, and I never seen anything like it, but it had a kind of weird effect when I took it out of Teddy. Almost started like decomposing faster, you'd say.
Yes. He holds his hand out as if to take it from you. Not in a greedy kind of like, ooh, I want the precious, but just sort of...
Oh yeah, I hand it over. And then encourage him. And when we ask questions and stuff, feel free to elaborate as much as you want.
This is an ancient power, he says. Very old. You should not lose it, he says. It will lead you someplace. It will lead you to a place of legend, he says. Almost like he's struggling with sort of, almost like he's sort of like having an internal dialogue about the precious. Now that it's cleaned off, the tooth itself, you find, is inlaid with metal. It is not, in fact, metal itself. It's a good size, probably bear tooth. And the metal is actually scrimshawed into the surface. So like very fine carving with these little tiny, almost like a scene on it. If you look very closely, it looks like the opening of a cave. And sort of at the bottom of the tooth, you kind of hold it upside down, right? The bottom of the tooth is the top. And there's a sort of path that leads up to it. This is the secret of the map, he says. And he gives it back. Where did you find this? You said in his parts.
It was physically inside Teddy, so I'm not sure if those damnable brothers put it in there when they made the map or what exactly, but clearly it's important, and I kind of just fold it up a little more neatly this time now that I know it's actually like, potentially a treasure map situation.
You have the map.
Anybody else want to have a look?
You have the map. This is the key.
I do. Interesting. Well, I'll be.
Yeah, I guess
hey, you want to take this? I immediately don't trust myself with anything like this important, especially after the Teddy situation. So, Nate?
Yeah. Nate puts down his full shot of tequila on the table next to Ash's, and then reaches over and sort of takes a look at it and stuffs it in his pocket. And he goes, I'll hold on to it, and then picks up Ash's empty glass.
I was going to say, just as all this is happening, I think Ash, who's kind of been, quietly smoking her cigarette, just at one point would have flipped the monocle down to just like peek at that thing just to see if I get a ping off of it.
You do. It's strange though. It doesn't seem to be ghost rock. It's the read that you get off of it is more like heat. Instead of that sort of purple radiance, it's more this weird. You don't know what this reading is about, but it definitely reacts in your monocle. The doctor actually grabs your shoulder, Nate. He's kind of sitting there pretty close to you because but basically he's sandwiched in between John and Nate. You must find someone to become the key. Holding on to it is not simple. It is not safe. The tooth alone will not get you through the door. Theodore was the key.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
I would suggest you pick the one most likely to survive. And he turns and looks at Dobbs.
Yeah. We all sort of like look at Dobbs.
What?
he's got a mouthful like I don't know, who knows what is Dobbs eating right now? Beans,
tobacco.
Yeah, he just put a.
He's got like
wad.
tobacco, and like potato chips or something like that in his mouth.
Sand maggot bites.
And like they come out together. He kind of spits on the table like crunched up pieces of potato chip, like steeped in tobacco spit. And he's like, "What?"
Well, Dobbs, if any of us are likely to survive something that's going to be a bit physically challenging, I suspect you are our candidate, because I certainly am not. And I just look at the still healing bullet wound.
I don't get what you're going for. Yeah, I'm tough.
Somebody else want to?
Yeah, so Nate is just kind of like smiling awkward at Dobbs, and he turns back to the doctor and says, "Okay, so what exactly do we need to do? Can you spell it out for us?"
Give me a spirit check.
Dobbs will lean in to pay attention because he doesn't have any idea what's going on.
This is not. This is actually. I'm sorry. Not your. What I wanted is give me a D4 roll for him. Just a D4.
Oh, I guess.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Because I don't want to be responsible for this. Okay.
Oh.
He holds his hand out like this. Sort of expectantly holds his hand out. His fingernails are all gnarly, right? You give it to him?
Yep.
You pull it out of your lapel pocket, and he holds it up. And it almost sort of seems to glisten in the moonlight. And he just slams that shit into Dobbs' collarbone. Right there. And pushes it in. What does Dobbs do?
Shit. Dobbs doesn't know what he's doing. Hold on. I'm going to make a smarts roll.
Okay.
See if Dobbs has any clue what's going on here.
I just forgot you guys improved too. You'll probably rip his fucking head off. Oh no!
Oh my god! Oh shit! Dobbs is not real.
The pain is worse than it should be, Dobbs.
Oh god! I'm probably gonna punch him.
Okay.
As hard as I possibly fucking can.
Give me your fighting roll.
Which is pretty bad, like.
Yeah.
Why's it gotta be the doctor, the first one? Now you know I can make him use smarts to fight me. You gotta fight me with the doctor right off the
Maybe
bat.
I won't be the only person to kill an NPC we like.
So if you guys, if you guys have any interest in intervening, this is up to you. We can go to initiative on this one, and so I can attempt very quickly to deal some cards. Let's see.
Yeah, no, Nate absolutely would have, right? So
Okay.
Nate was expecting a conversation, and instead he just took it and then aggressively.
Yeah, I'd be reacting as well.
Suspect I have a gun out already by this point.
Same.
Yeah, I would have had my cane pointed at him. Yeah, I can draw.
Okay, yeah, you can draw a card. So draw your initiative cards if you would. You should be able to see it, and you can play them on the table. You should be able to drag them and drop them on the table. And,
Well, there's two good rolls for you. 11 for his fighting to punch him, doctor, in the eye, and 9 points for damage.
What? Okay. You.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. So
Show
Dobbs,
whose
did
card
you-
is whose.
Yeah, I don't know if that was my card or not.
This one, the 7
that's
is
wonky.
me here. I don't
Yeah,
know.
9 of hearts is mine.
9 of hearts.
Oh, was that one yours? Okay, let me.
Yeah, so this was me.
Yes. So Dobbs had
Spade
8 of
heart.
spades.
John had the 9.
Yeah. So John. Okay. So you see the doctor lunge forward, shove this thing into his collarbone, or right in the muscle of his shoulder, right, just kind of straight through. The craziest thing is almost immediately as he's pushing in, kind of right here where his skin is exposed. This thing seems to be burrowing in. Dobbs immediately, you see his muscles bristle in his neck, and he's about to rip this guy's head off. What do you do?
You're already aware that nobody puts their hands on Dobbs without permission.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You clearly know that's
Yes.
You've been with him long enough. So
I instinctively stand up and draw my gun. Kind of realize somewhat what's going on, and I stop my pocket watch, which stops time for a single round.
Yeah.
I cannot attack, though, so I'm going to hopefully get away with this. I'm going to quickly go around the table and basically grab the doctor's arm away and like put it behind him and kind of put him in like a hold. And it's probably borderline attacking, but like I'm not physically hurting him. It's more of I'm restraining him.
Okay. So you do. So you dial your watch, and there's this sort of everything's very weird, almost like sort of Lord of the Rings, invisible weird, where everything's just people. You look around, and people out on the promenade are posed awkwardly. Ash is there. She's got this like sour look on her face, and she's in the middle kind of chewing her cigarette like she does, and the smoke's like stuck as you kind of move past it. The movement though does move the smoke despite the frozen time. So you grab him, you pull his arm away, and kind of get him in a hold, a kind of defensive hold. That takes your action for the round, and suddenly, Dobbs. It's probably the pain, right? But suddenly things shift a little bit in front of you. You're just so angry right now. You see red, and your buddy's got the doctor, and he's going to hold him for you. You get a +2 on your attack.
So did I actually see him reach for me then?
So you stopped time at the point when the tooth was in him. You yanked him back. So you absolutely, yes, yes, it is clobbering time.
Have I seen John use that before? Never used it in a scream.
I don't know, John.
I don't think so.
Yeah, because you've got very few.
So you would say
uses.
that before or outside of the stream, the game that I would have seen him use it.
Yeah, I don't think I would only use it in pretty dire situations, and this one seems dire to me.
Shit. Yeah.
You want to make a spirit roll to see if you hold it together?
See if I hold it together?
Yeah, well, you seem to be torn. So do you want to? Well,
I'm torn to see what Dobbs' reaction would be to John's action. Is John saying anything?
No, because it's pretty much like it was paused time. So like me saying anything, you wouldn't even hear anything.
I got a 6 in spirit.
So he appears over this guy's shoulder, basically, is what it would look like to you, right? Because you see this guy, and suddenly he's yanked back, and John's standing behind him, holding him back.
So I'm guessing I rolled another smarts tech for Dobbs with a 7.
Yep.
So I think that he might recognize John's actions as to like he's holding the doctor back, not to fight Dobbs. But Dobbs has like built up so much rage and shit that Dobbs probably breaks the side of the table off. He probably just, like snaps. He probably just crushes the table with all the drinks and shit on it. He just put all his weight, all his power would just bust the table. Legs probably go sideways, and he just stands up and he's just like.
So you're there, and of course you just collapse the table, and there are a few people around who are just confused, like maybe they noticed, John, something that was going on, but of course you smash the table and literally splinter the one leg that you're sitting nearest, and part of the table kind of collapses, glasses clatter to the floor. John, this gives you another second to take a step back with the doctor. I did not mean any offense. It was the only way, he says, as you pull him back. What are you doing, Ash? So this crazy shit just happens. What do you do?
I think I immediately take out my pistol and kind of like hold it up to the doctor, and then after John like pulls him back, I guess I kind of see, again, very confused for a moment because of the fact that I don't know if I've ever seen this either. But I just kind of like hold the gun like between Dobbs and the doctor, like, wait, what? Like, so I think she just kind of takes a second to be like, okay.
What about you, Nate? So you're there. This is, chaos ensues. Dobbs is there. He's still huffing, and I'll tell you what's going on there here in a second, but Dobbs is not in an okay way.
Yeah, so Nate is obviously caught completely off guard, and much like John, like he stands up, kicks the chair out behind him, and like for the first time, at least in a very long time, he's got his cane almost as a weapon, and he's holding it out at the end of his arm with the tip of it pressed up against the doctor's chest. Now that John's got him held back, and he's just like, "What the hell did you do?" Sorry. What the hell did you do?
What in the hell did you do?
Nate has seen me use this once before at the wedding.
Yeah. How could I forget? I knew exactly what's going on.
So you put your cane at the dock, and right about then, who's carrying the finger of Nicodemus? I think it's probably John, right?
John.
So
yeah.
Nate, I thought so. I needed to ask before I said this, but so Nate, John has him pulled tight against him, and the doctor's eyes kind of go down to John's satchel, kind of looking downward. It is finished.
I look down, see what he's looking at.
So he's glancing down at your satchel. He's sort of moved off to the side, and there's something in there that might have shifted.
Okay. I reach in and take it out.
So you take it out, right? And the finger immediately just and points at Dobbs, drawing your attention to Dobbs. You're there and you're just like, ah! You just instinctively, you are just in a mad rage right now, like D&D barbarian rage, as the scarification spreads out from this tooth that has been shoved under your skin. You are becoming the map. What does Dobbs think of that?
He just like probably goes down to his knees and he's just like grunting it out.
Struggling it.
Are we still in initiative right now, or?
I'm going to say no. That one was just to sort out what was going on with the doctor, to see if anybody was able to stop Dobbs from ripping his head off.
He probably grabs the bottle of tequila if it's still on the table, or like on the floor in the mess. If it did spill, he just probably grabs it and just downs it.
Yeah, it's like right there.
I definitely want to get down on if Dobbs drops and like goes down on his knees, like that's something that immediately like Ash is like, there's something horribly wrong here. So I think she kind of like crouches down and like, starts to kind of like feed you the tequila, being like, you're okay. Like she doesn't know what to do about that though, because you're not supposed to be the one to go down.
Yeah, you scoop up that bottle. It's kind of like rolled on its side, and it's drizzling out, but there's still a good bit in there. And yeah, you scoop it up and give it to him. What are Nate and John doing as you see your buddy go down? He's like Incredible Hulking it there, just like.
No, Dax just moved to the. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
As the doctor kind of moved to the side, I pull my pistol back up towards him and cock it and say, "What the hell did you do to him?"
I told you, you needed to make the most likely to survive the key. You ask for help. I help. I have
the map, and we have this. What more? Why do we need to put that in him?
He struggles against you. You need a key. The map alone will get you nowhere. Why do you think the boy was chosen? Fool, he says. At least this one can defend himself. The pain will pass soon, he says. Now, the kicker is, Nate, you're noticing there's a crowd drawing up. And you were going to say something, too. What were you going to do there? When you guys know you. That was cute.
Yeah. No, so at the point where, like, John starts to let go of his hold so he can check his bag and he's starting to see what's going on, I would have, with a huff, pulled my cane off his chest and then gone to Dobbs to see how he was doing.
Okay.
So that was sort of like this weird transition while he was talking.
Yeah, so you're kind of moving over here in that, and as you look at Dobbs, he's there. He's not bleeding, but just picture if branding marks could be made without a brand, right? So like it's that inflamed. And then as you watch, within maybe say 30 seconds, the movement underneath his shirt sort of subsides, and Dobbs, you feel almost this sort of cool rush, but the memory of the pain is still just burned into your brain. What was the smarts roll for there?
So the smarts roll was to kind of gather all this has happened, because he saw John pull the tooth out of what have you. He saw him hand it to the doctor. He saw the doctor jam it into him. He kind of knows. I rolled to see if he could figure it out of what happened. That he just like became the map. And so at this point, he sees the crowd and stuff like that. And he knows that he wants to kind of like shy away from, drawing attention to us. And so he's thinking about, those stage actors that he saw in the little carts that drive by, and the side shows and stuff like that. And so he stands up like all hurt and crushes the bottle of tequila in his hand. And he goes, "What is that good?"
Could you repeat that? We lost your audio for a second. Could you repeat what he says?
I'm sorry, what?
I'm sorry, Byron. Could you repeat what he said? Because we lost your audio for a second.
He just says, "Wow, that's good tequila."
Mike, what are you saying?
I was going to say, Nate sort of uses work the room to sort of help sell, the sort of show. And
he gets a 6 on his persuasion.
I was actually going to also jump in on this because I feel like that's also Ash and John's kind of con, right? Is that we always like perform. So I think once I see Dobbs doing that, I kind of like join in and maybe do like a couple of guns tricks and just like try like shoot John and Lance like.
So let's go with as you're preparing to do that. So let's work with work the room. So Dobbs persuasion, Nate, is going to give you a +2 on any persuasion that you need to make. So what are you going to do? You're going to use performance or persuasion, and how are you going to approach that? These people are kind of crouching in, and it's not a whole bunch of just commoners. It's a bunch of really curious, sort of rough and tumble like bar folk, and they're kind of coming in and chewing their tobacco, and a couple of them have their guns out, but they're just not sure who to aim them at. What are you going to do?
I'm gonna do a bit of a performance, right? And so as he gets up and he's sort of doing his thing, and then Ash gets up and she starts going, I sort of hype that up, and then I turn around and say, "Sorry, folks, in order to see the rest of the show, you're gonna have to pay full admission. Sorry, folks, in order to see the rest of the show, y'all gonna have to pay full admission. We'll be down to the theater house at the end of the week. All right, make sure you guys bring your cash."
Give me that performance roll. And you'll have +2 to that because of Dobbs' persuasion. And
while he's doing that, I'm starting to do some like elaborate flourishes of card shuffling and stuff like that, like twirling cards in the air, but using that as a facade to actually cast Conceal Arcana on Dobbs. In case anybody's trying to look at him with a more nuanced eye.
Oh, okay. So you're doing that, and now just picture what the crowd is seeing, right? And Ash, what's your gun trick? What are you going to do? You going to do something super flashy?
Yeah, I think probably something like toss a cigarette up in the air and then, like shoot it out of the sky. Do that like a couple times. Maybe even try and get John to throw me a card or something. Just like, haha, like total just stupid showmanship, gunslinger tricks.
I love it. Give me a gunslinger trick roll. Give me a shooting roll. And I'm going to give you, again, the same +2 just because the energy of what's going on. And this is like showtime.
4 acts at once.
Yeah, it's find performance anywhere.
Should be there. So
there should be. It's on the description that there is a performance. I just can't find it.
Well, use persuasion, and we'll find it later.
Okay.
And maybe maybe like an edge or something.
Damn.
Good God.
And it's got a +2 on there.
Holy shit.
So, Ash, you flick your cigarette, and it's like a comet flying through. You shoot right through the cherry. You ricochet off of a pot hanging in a tree and shoot straight through the cigar of one of the roughest looking guys. And he just looks down, and he gets this huge shit-eating grin on his face, like he can't be mad at that. He starts clapping, and he's chewing this weird blown-out cigar. You do this sort of curtsy thing. Nate, Nate, you've captivated these people as you kind of walking around swinging your cane and whatnot. Y'all's performers, says one of these guys, and through his teeth look like black corn as he's, y'all's performers? Where's y'all from? He says, where's y'all from?
Yeah.
Nate.
I was, sorry. I don't know why I was looking for John to speak up, but
you glance over your shoulder at John and come back.
Right. We're just travelers. We go from town to town to see as many happy faces as we can.
What the hell are you doing at Maggot Gap? He says, spitting a big wad of tobacco.
Well, we heard about all the magical properties and multi-purpose uses of your fine sand maggots around here, and I had to stop in and make sure we saw the vista and the locals, of course. And I take out a card and write down the Stagecoach Kings and like throw it onto the table, but like making the card stick into the table.
Okay. So you just stick it in the table, and there's just this kind of moment, like this Tarantino moment, right, where the camera just spins around that card as it's stuck there. And almost out of nowhere, and this will be sort of on his table, right, because yours is daubsed, a fist smashes that card flat. What's that one do? He looks like he might be able to do a little clobbering. Looking at Dobbs, not in an intimidating way, but more like when you appreciate a nice car, kind of.
And
Every good show has to have a strong man, and this one's ours.
So this guy's got a fluffy ascot, which pisses everyone off, right? An ascot just pisses people. And he's got a little bit of it's not quite a top hat, a little shorter, shaped the same. And he's dressed pretty nice other than that. A little dirty, rough around the edge, smells to high hell. He comes walking over and he's looking Dobbs up and down like, so this your enforcer? You like to fight, boy? He says. He's like 5 feet tall.
Well, nobody really likes to fight, but I tell you what, if you got $5, I got a bet for you.
Is that right?
Yeah.
He wants a bet for $5, fellas, he says, kind of with a flourish.
Yeah. $5 says I could catch a sand maggot with my bare hands.
Whoa, everybody's like, whoa, kind of, oh, is that right? Sand maggot.
Well,
you know what?
That's assuming you got $5.
Me? Assuming I have $5? Son, I'm made of money. You smell it? And he does this and wafts like, I mean, it's just gross, right? Just ass and underarms and got teeth, like whatever. I tell you what, I'll take your $5 bet and I'll make you a $10 one on top of it. How's that sound? I bet you can't last 3 rings with my cousin Eddie. 3 rounds. 3 rounds in the ring with my cousin Eddie. And if you do, then I'll let you go hunt yourself a sand maggot. How's that for a bet, big guy? As he's looking up at you. He's nice enough. He seems earnest.
Well, yeah. Well, since you're so made of money, $20 says I beat him in 2.
Ooh, give me a persuasion roll. He's he's thinking. John, this guy's got a tell. He flicks his pinky finger against his cane.
I'll kind of spit a little bit of tobacco on him, and I'll be like, "That's assuming he ain't a coward."
I tell you what, we'll take your $20 bet. We'll take your $20. He's a little intimidated by you. What are the rest of you guys doing?
I lit up a cigarette again just to cover this man's smell because I can't handle it. So I guess I kind of saunter up beside Dobbs, and I'm looking at the situation. I just kind of go, I don't know, Dobbs seems like easy money if you ask me. Just trying to like goad this guy into agreeing.
Yeah, and Nate's watching the professor or the doctor, right? So like we've caused a bit of a commotion, and he just wants to make sure that the doctor's not. He's still smiling. He's still sort of working the crowd a little bit, but he's trailing him.
You can see the doctor seems to be, he's confused. He's taking it all in just like the rest of the crowd, but he's watching you as closely as you're watching him. It's almost like he's wondering if he's getting in worse danger. The one thing, give me a notice roll, Nate, as you're kind of looking around. Wild die saves you for a 5. So you're kind of glancing around. You notice there's a couple characters kind of off to the side. They're not paying as close of attention as you think they should be, right? They're just kind of off to the side, and they're sort of talking to one another. One's pointing over that direction. And one guy kind of nods. And, fair enough looking guys, sort of rough dress, cowboy hats, whatever. The one guy sort of nods and just kind of walks away. No gun out, no nothing. The other guy takes out a cigarillo and lights it up with a match and starts whistling, apparently, from the whistling music. But he's watching from afar. He's doing almost like what you would do.
Yeah, Nate is no stranger to observing without observing, and so he definitely makes a mental note of that and turns back to sort of participate in the show. But he's got an eye. He's just watching.
Nice. So, kind of snapping back. Well, that sounds right nice. So tomorrow night, we'll have ourselves a fight. What's your name, big fella? Dobbs. Well, pleasure to meet you, Dobbs. I look forward to collecting this bet.
Why we gotta wait till tomorrow?
Well, that's when the boxing match is. You don't think that I just came out of nowhere and asked you to just fight, do you? I mean, he's looking up at you again. You could literally just crush him. See, I run this place. We got a boxing ring right in there.
Well, that's cool. Why don't we do it right now?
Well, because...
I don't know. I kind of put my hand on Dobbs' huge shoulder all the way up there, and I go, "Now, Dobbs, y'all know we'd like an audience, so give the man some time, get the word around town, make it a good show, That way."
Oh, I suppose that's true.
Yeah, that way everyone can watch you crush this man.
Right. Yeah, that's good.
I kind of, say, well, I mean, as they say, a fool is soon parted with his money, but apologies. I haven't introduced myself yet. I'm John Ivy, and your name is?
1 second. John. No, I don't. That name seems so familiar to me. My name's Chester. Chester Willis, he says, reaching out to shake your hand. He's got some stupid, gaudy rings. Your kind of big showman kind of rings. He's just looks almost like a circus, like a circus conductor or something.
So I'm automatically registering him as, I would like him to be a mark, but I'm thinking he's a little too conniving for that to be that easy. I mean, normally I get my chips in another way. We'll let Dobbs get chips his way. But might I ask, you did mention boxing. Are there rules to this that we need to be aware of? I don't want this to be an unfair bet here.
Well, what do you think this is? Some uncivilized place? Of course there are rules. You can't kill your opponent, because that's just not a gentlemanly thing to do. You can't use weapons. But other than that, you beat the living tar out of each other. Whoever can't get back up, well, he's a loser. You want to get in on this wager? He kind of leans in. I mean, you look like a betting man if I've ever seen one. He looks you over. You've seen this 1,000 times. He's inventoried your belongings.
Right. Well, I'm not going to put quite as much as Dobbs put down. I'll gladly put $5 on my man Dobbs here, though. But I'll be probably taking more money than that in other means gambling around here. So if you know any good tables, even though I know there are good tables probably around, I would be happy to wage war with you at the card table.
Well, I'm not really a man for cards, but there are a couple poker tables right on over there. You probably get yourself a good card game. So, yeah, he's thinking about something. And by the way, I'm terribly sorry to hear you're falling on hard times with that $5 bet. He pats you and moves over toward Nate and Ash, kind of standing near each other. What about the two of you? Seems like your friend's willing to bet on your buddy here. And with a big man like that, you gotta be able to have $10, $15, $20 to put on him.
I'm appalled. I am a man of integrity, and it just wouldn't be right to bet on a sure thing.
Honestly, I was about to say the same thing. It takes away the sport, if you already know what the outcome's going to be, so I'm just going to have to decline. But I'll stay for the show.
Ash, give me an intimidation roll. We haven't done that yet today.
I love it. Literally, it's so unconscious, but every time she opens her mouth. Here we go.
Something about the mix of sarcasm and disgust in your voice, just it shuts him down. Yes, ma'am. We'll welcome you. You'll enjoy the show, I'm sure. Well, it was a pleasure to meet you. If you need me, I'll be behind the bar, back in the office here. Again, you rest up there, big fella. Kind of pat you on the arm. His hands are clammy. It's gross. He makes his way through the crowd, and some of the people are kind of starting to disperse. There's a lot of kind of murmuring going on, and Nate's made his rounds and kind of more or less calmed and fanned everyone out, but there's people just trying to figure out what they saw. Nate, you pick up with your notice roll from before also, there are people who saw John go from seated to holding the doctor back, and they're just like, I saw it with my own I know I saw it. There's a couple people that kind of wander around. Do you try to diffuse that, or you just let him be,
Yeah, I mean, I try to sort of play it off, right? It's all part of the act. Can't tell you the secrets though. Trade secrets. Can't. It won't be a surprise if you knew how it's done. And he's just making this mental note of we've got to talk to John about doing this shit in public.
You mentioned full admission. You're gonna be doing tricks like that. I'm gonna be there. Where's your show, and how much does it cost? He says.
Theater house down at the end of the way. It'll be $5 a person, $3 for the little ones, and we'll be performing on Friday.
There ain't no little ones live around here, but all right. He says, I'll be there. Did you see this? They're gonna be doing magic acts, and it's like, oh wow, this is incredible. So they
just got out of hand.
Yeah. So you play it off, and what's odd is how quickly NPCs can go away and leave you alone. How they sort of, in general, start kind of fanning out. There's a lot of people talking and pointing and recounting. Some new people come and have to hear the whole story. You guys are sort of sitting at this three-legged table, which, the folks that work at the bar have come and sort of straightened it out for the most part and propped the leg up at a weird angle. It teeter-totters. What are you going to do with the rest of your evening?
I think as we settle back down, I definitely try and get us another bottle of tequila and then kind of sit down next to John and put it down between both of us. And I just look at him and I say, now, what did we say our name was on that business card? Because we're going to have to really nail this one down.
Yeah, Stagecoach Kings, and kind of immediately regret that one, not gonna lie.
And the card is still there, crumpled up from where the guy hit it, and so you kind of pick it up with your weird handwriting, and you still got it.
Don't worry, we can rebrand. It'll be formerly known as Stagecoach Kings. They're not gonna know any better.
While I'd really like to conversate about the importance of a name, and they are important, I think maybe we should get somewhere a little more discreet and figure out what the hell is happening to Dobbs.
Oh, I was going to suggest that, as well as the, well, Mr. Ivy, that was an interesting decision that you made back there to, well, multiple things, but, yeah, are we staying here tonight? Are we camping? What's going on with that? Because I don't have $5 on me right now, so...
Yeah, no worries. We can stay in the inn down the road on me for the kind of various situations I've gotten us into lately. So at least I can do. And we'll have maybe a little quieter talk about what happened earlier.
Yeah, a little powwow, I believe, would be good.
So Dobbs, you're there, right? And there's this moment where you feel very alone, right? you still kind of, you don't exactly hurt anymore, but it's almost like that feeling you get when you just finished hurting, right? You still feel that, and there was a little bit of adrenaline with that little man talking to you, being in your face, but you definitely are. It's not lost on you that something's happened to you, 100%. You don't, feel weird. Your vision's just the same. Your taste is the same. Your senses, everything's fine. But yeah, there's something definitely going on there. So do you head back to the official hotel, hostel, as it were?
Yeah. What's the doctor doing? He stayed at the table, I assume?
He has stayed nearby and very largely quiet. All this kind of stuff is going on, and he's sort of that fifth wheel, if you will, that's just sort of off to the side, kind of.
Yeah.
Do you think it is safe to... You just decided to make him the key, and now you're going to have him fighting?
Well, see... We were trying to have a discussion about doing that, and then you kind of made the decision for us in the middle of a bar in the public. So
really, you made him the key.
Yeah, and Doc, I really, I don't like to use harsh words. I'm a man of fighting, not really a man of words, but I'm trying to work on it. And so I think, honestly, two things. Number one, you owe my friend John there a life debt because I was about to take yours. And then two is that if you ever even consider putting a hand on me, they'll find parts of you all over the west from here in different parts of the desert as I break them off like little pieces of taffy. And in addition to that, your finger, unlike the finger of Nicodemus, won't point anywhere but in your butthole.
Don't bother to roll. He's clearly just you tower over him, and this guy was tall, if you remember, very, very thin though. And he sort of leans back, almost leaning back over Ash, because Ash is kind of right there, ready to put a bullet in his ribs or whatever as you're leaning in. I just thought I was helping. I help, he says. I help.
Yeah, I again kind of like pat him a little bit. I think that's Ash's new move, is to just kind of like smack people on the shoulder a little bit to like, to like be a little bit intimidating. She's just like, now, Doc, we all know you had the best intentions, but your methods are just absolute dog shit. What say y'all to getting out of here for the evening?
He nods, and he kind of looks over at John. I do not know how you did that, but thank you for saving my life. I have seen what this man can do.
No, you haven't.
Yeah,
he looks at you.
Teach you think twice next time.
He looks at you. Yes, I have, and he kind of moves on. This matter of fact. So you make your way in a kind of, with very little fanfare. You walk past some folks that are sitting at tables and smoking cigarettes and drinking and playing cards, and they all look at you very suspiciously. But it's almost as if they don't even know what to make of what just happened, right? It looked like the doctor hit Dobbs on the shoulder and Dobbs went down. So really, it looks like they're almost terrified of the doctor in some ways. They took that big bear of a man down to his knees, right? And then all this hoopla. The hotel itself is very, very modest. It is 2 stories. It's only got 4 rooms. So you pretty much just have to hole up in one and, kind of lay around wherever you find space, because it's packed full of people. There's sort of a nice little parlor. What's Dobbs rolling for?
Nothing. That was an accident.
Oh, he's like suddenly going to be strong. You're going to rip the hotel out of the ground and move it.
I realized I didn't update my strength on my character sheet. And so I was trying to fix that, but it
should let you fix it.
Yeah, I just got to figure it out.
So you settle in, right? You kind of make your way into the hotel. This hour, the night man, it still says you're rolling a d6, huh?
Yeah.
The night man basically kind of comes from the chambers behind the counter. It's a modest 75 cents a night, let's say. There's no meals. There's nothing like that. It's just this really ratty shithole of a place. There is a boarding house here in town as well, if you're going to be around for a little longer.
I buy a bottle of tequila, by the way,
right
as we're leaving the bar to go, so make sure we have something for the room.
Not even realizing that Ash had gotten some more, I think you said too. So you've got 2 bottles of tequila. I'm thinking you get just plastered. And the following morning, I'm going to let Nate tell me what does that hotel room look like? What's it like? The roosters crow.
Yeah. So everybody is sort of like, they all passed out drunk, and of course Nate, not being a drinker, he was the only one with the wits of mind to find the bed and sleep on what they call the bed. It was a little more than that, and everybody else is just sort of like disheveled and piled together in these sort of like passed out, propped up corners of the very small room.
The doctor, you notice, didn't drink much either. He did have some tequila, but he took some pills and just stared at the ceiling for the majority of the night, while whatever party was happening at some point, Dobbs was probably picking his limp, hallucinating self up and dancing with him. Dobbs, what do you do? Obviously, you've got this concern about what might have happened to your body, right? So what do you do as you settle in for the night?
Well, I think he's really private about it. He probably goes outside or somewhere, where he has privacy, and he kind of just unbuttons his shirt a little bit, already kind of figuring out what happened.
So you look where the wound is, but it's a lot less severe than it should be. It's obviously a hole, but it's sort of already scabbed pretty well, and it looks like it's starting to heal. It's a nice healthy pink. Trouble is, irradiating out from that part is just a whole shitload like line art like you saw on Teddy. Now, the good news is where the tooth was on you, the drawing doesn't get quite as weird around your junk, which is nice compared to Teddy's, just comparing apples to Teddy's. But it does cover your entire body. It's you can feel it. It's literally like a scarification, right? So you can feel the texture of it, and even the mountains in some cases you can feel the texture of the shading on them.
Okay.
So during the night's festivities, I kind of fill Dobbs and Ash and the doctor, if he's, I guess, lucid, of what the pocket watch does. And I don't go into the whole backstory of how I got it or anything like that, but basically once a day I can briefly, from my view, stop time for everybody else, and I can go and do something very quickly. So it's not something I like to ever use unless I really need to. And I knew Dr. Alexander was about to meet his maker, that is to say Dobbs Fist. So I felt that we didn't have much of an option, so I did do that. And then kind of rolling forward, once the next morning, I just wake up straight and just say, I got it. Nate Clifton's Congress of Rough Riders.
You literally sit up and you don't even know where you are, but you hit your head on the bedpost, right? You're kind of sleeping next to the bed and you're like, oh, I got it. And you say, what exactly? Can I fit that
Nate
on the title
Clifton's
slide?
Congress of Rough Riders.
Please put that in the chat. I'm not going to take that note. I'll forget. Put that in the chat.
The what now? The context is not there. Nate just hears his name going, huh?
I have to think Nate's there with already with a cup of coffee, maybe, and just you guys are just still out of it, and you sit up and say that. Ash, you hear some noise. Dobbs, you hear some noise. Yeah.
When he hits his head on the bedpost, that's what wakes Ash up, and she immediately pulls her gun out like, oh.
I just kind of pause and the name, the rebranding. We don't even have a stagecoach, and we're not all guys. I don't even know why I said that.
I mean, your head is like a deck of cards, kings, queens. I get it. Speaking of
constantly shuffled.
Constantly shuffled, exactly. Speaking of, though, something that I recall you telling us about last night is that little magic trick your pocket watch does. Now, I got to thinking in my cups last night. If ever you feel the need to do that again around us, maybe we should have a sort of signal word, like, I don't know, like a blackjack or something to like let us know what's going on, because that way.
That's a great idea, and I like the keyword too. It's a lot better than any idea I was probably going to come up with. I can assure you that.
Nate, with like the more clear mind of all the foggy hangovers, he takes a sip of his coffee. He's like, well, just make sure you say the word before you do the watch thingy, not after.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's a real good point.
So Dobbs is snoring like a beast, you know, because this kind of stuff is really of no consequence to him. Some guns cocking and some talking. You come to over this, they're having conversation that, you know, you're laying in between most of them, right? So there's this talking back and forth over you. And you want to think it's a dream, right? You kind of open your eyes and you realize, yeah, it's the same shitty hotel. Ash is aiming a gun at John. Like, you know, it makes sense. How is his demeanor?
He's probably fine. He's probably just, you know, just like calm. Almost too calm, because he knows there's a fight coming.
Yeah.
And so kind of like the eye of the storm, it's just like his demeanor is just focused. Like, you've seen him fight like on the spur of the moment, but you've never seen him like, he used to fight in the chain gangs. Like, they'd fight to see who was and he's just all calm focus. And he just pulls out his mom's poetry book and starts reading.
This is probably the most I've actually been intimidated by Dobbs. Like, I'm intimidated often by Dobbs, but this is like the calm before the storm. I'm unsettled, like hair on the back of my neck going up type situation.
And the irony, he could just as well be reading a book whose title was something like 10 Ways to Murder Your Worst Enemy, but he's reading poems. And you would obviously know this is his poetry book, and it doesn't have that many pages in it. You've watched him read this thing. I mean, he's probably not a fast reader, but yeah. So Nate, what are you thinking about this fight?
Nate's got a lot of thoughts about the fight, and every once in a while you guys will glance at Nate, and he's sneaking a peek, right? He's looking at a line that goes up behind Dobbs' ear, or he's sort of counting the ridges to himself or under, or like over on his shirt. And internally, Nate is concerned, like, we have no idea what this has done to Dobbs's strength or to his endurance, or if it's going to have any sort of lasting effects. 2, we know nothing about Cousin Eddie, and we've seen Dobbs take out machinery, but who the hell is Cousin Eddie? And 3, Dobbs just became a whole lot more valuable, I guess. I don't know. Like, we need to be a little bit more careful with our Dobbs moving forward. And I don't know that Nate really shared a whole lot of that last night with all the ruckus, but he's thinking these things as he's sort of like looking Dobbs over.
How do you spend your day? So obviously there's a daytime there, you know, general store and variety of other resources here. They're a little slim. But if you need any kind of restocking or whatever, you absolutely can do that.
I know that at one point during the day, I think Ash wants to pull the doctor aside and ask him if he's got any of those pills that he took last night.
So I'm gonna assume that, you know, you fan out at some point. You're not gonna just sit in a hotel room, right? So you kind of have decided to go for your breakfast, and he's there standing on kind of the porch with a toothpick, working bacon out of his teeth when Ash appears behind him. And again, we've established he's terrified of Ash, and he sort of jumps as she clears her throat. And how do you ask? He just kind of, "Good morning," he says.
Morning, Doc. And I kind of like lean up. I guess we're on like a banister, I would assume, like out on the porch. Kind of like lean and light a cigarette and just kind of people watch with him for a minute while I'm smoking. Then I just kind of casually go, so, saw those, little tricks you took last night, little pills. Say, care to share?
I do not know what you are talking about.
Doctor.
For my rheumatiz remedy, he says.
Seemed to be a little bit out of it, though, after you took them.
I was tired, he says.
Yeah, I kind of give him a look like a side eye, like Yeah, and she just goes, well, seeing as how you are enjoying our hospitality currently, if one or two were to find their way into my possession, I would be very grateful.
I will see what I can do, he says. Not looking at you, right? Kind of looking awkwardly ahead. Watch this side pocket on your pouch.
It's called the duster.
He says, yes. He clears his throat and stiffens as if this is all. I warn you, do not use weapon. Very, very strong, potent, he says. Very strong medicine.
So if I were to, I kind of look around. Is anyone like around us, like listening or watching?
There's a man over. He's kind of there's a man and a woman talking to each other, and she's got her little umbrella, and they're cute and whatever. They're just doing their thing. So that's about all that you can glance over. A little cart goes by.
Yeah, and so I say to him, now if I were trying to get, say, someone maybe about the size of Mr. Dobbs, a little loopy, how many of those would I need?
Dobbs?
You heard me.
4.
Okay, well then that's how many I need, thank you.
I do not understand. Why do you want to hurt Mr. Dobbs?
It's not for Mr. Dobbs. Again, I kind of glance around and then I look up at him and I just kind of puff my cigarette and I go, it's for Cousin Eddie.
He literally... You lock eyes and you see just his very serious face, but you see this little in his eye, like the crow's feet. He just smirks and nods. Cousin Eddie, I will make 5, he says.
I pat his shoulder a little bit, like, yep, you're gonna fit right in here.
So you part ways, and at some point, later, he slips them into your pocket surreptitiously. John, what do you get yourself up to during the day?
I'm going to head over and play some games of poker and try to, while playing, obviously try to win money, but also try to figure out anything I can about Cousin Eddie, any details as I'm, kind of asking around, excited for the big fight situation.
Yeah. So on one of your losing games, right, when you're trying to kind of cover your tracks and kind of let people understand that they may have a chance of winning, you get this guy's across from you and he's just so happy, he's just bringing these chips in, and you're just like, oh, he's so cute. And you ask him and he stops. Cousin Eddie's a bear of a man. Biggest I've ever seen. And he ain't quite right. I mean that. He could probably chew through the side of a barn, that son bitch. Something else. He sharpened his teeth like a damn beaver or something, or like not a beaver. What's got sharp teeth? And they'll say, oh, hell, you don't even know something's got sharp teeth, you stupid son of a bitch. Could be a raccoon or any old thing, but damn sure ain't a beaver. And then it starts this kind of ruckus back and forth. Dobbs, I'm going to say that you're probably near enough by that you hear this, and it's just feeding the fire. How do you respond to that, John, with an H?
Well, I mean, fair enough. I haven't seen Cousin Eddie, but Dobbs, I mean, he loves those big men. When they fall, they make more noise for him. Oftentimes, they don't ever get back up.
Yeah, I've heard that before. I seen them have their faces chewed off. You don't understand. When I tell you something ain't right, partner, something ain't right with him. He's crazy as a loon, hungry as an alligator. Alligator's got sharp teeth. He says, what's Nate get himself up to during the day? Give me 2 gambling rolls, by the way, John. Let's see how you do.
Okay.
Yeah, Nate trails close behind John, partially because, Nate doesn't really know the area, and John does, but also because John gets himself into trouble sometimes and does some stupid stuff. And so it's almost like a watch, very similar to the first sort of little powwow we were in when we found Teddy. And so Nate's sort of watching the bar, and he's kind of got a drink, and he's just sort of talking to people, but he's listening to John at the table. He's clapping when there's a good hand or whatever. But he also he sort of takes note of what this guy's saying about Cousin Eddie, and he's trying to hold a conversation with this pretty woman. He's trying to be charming, but he's growing more and more concerned, and all these concerns about whether or not we're risking Dobbs, he's starting to get a little worked up about it.
So you're there and you're having this conversation. You're listening over here, and a couple of the remarks that this guy makes about Cousin Eddie not being quite right. The bartender's there, and he's kind of polishing glasses, kind of cleaning them up, and wiping the counter and stuff. And he kind of, you got that right. Sweet Jesus, you got that right. See, you get that it's this pervasive sense that something's not quite right with Cousin Eddie. So your day generally passes. Are there any kind of supplies, anything you want to pick up, anything that's important to note?
I definitely want to, at some point after acquiring my goods from the doctor, I do want to have a quick powwow with Nate. And I kind of want to tip him off to the fact that I might have gotten us an edge in the fight if he can find a way to maybe have a nice toast to a fair fight before we throw Dobbs in the ring with Cousin Eddie.
Yeah, so if we have that moment, first off, Nate is internally he's feeling much better about everything going on. He'd be like, oh yeah, it'll just be all back out in Austin back, a few years ago. All right, I'll make the toast. You take care of the rest. Absolutely,
and we got to keep an eye on our good friend Dobbs. He's strong, but I'm always watching. Don't let anything bad happen to him.
So Dobbs, the day of a fight, he's in the morning. He's super, super hungry. So he's gonna go to find a place to eat.
So you right there. So you all kind of had breakfast, and I'm thinking Ash goes out and has her chat. John goes off to gamble, and you're just still there eating.
Yeah, and he gets 2 bottles of milk, two dozen eggs, and a stack of flapjacks. He just tells them keep bringing them.
So you start to hear actually, some guy makes his way over from the hotel over to the saloon. You're there, Nate, just kind of listening and watching John gamble, and you hear something like, "Yeah, well, that other son of a bitch woke up, started eating 8 o'clock this morning. He ain't stopped yet." And they're like, no, you go over there and look. He's got 12 plates. Look like he ate 1,400 pancakes. There's this hoopla that kind of starts, and I'm sure Nate works to spread that.
Yeah, right, exactly. Oh, 8 o'clock. I saw him eating before he even got in there. He had some jerky in his hand at 6:30 when I came out to get my coffee.
This fight's gonna be insane. I don't know if I ought to bet on Cousin Eddie. Oh, shut your mouth. He's gonna chew his neck out like he did the last one. Crazy son of a bitch. So
When I hear that, I kind of chime in. Now, is my understanding from the good gentleman Chester Willis saying that this is not to the death. Now, how did the man with his neck chewed out survive a fight?
Well, fact is he didn't. But Eddie didn't mean to kill him. He just knocked his damn head plumb near off, and then to show off, he bit his damn neck out, didn't he? He's like, well, he didn't chew it out. He didn't just totally chew it out. He just took a bite. He bit his goddamn neck out, all right? Talk about things with sharp teeth that he left whole. And they kind of back and forth as you're talking.
I start to grow more concerned.
So your day generally passes. You win $9 from these poor men. You kind of figure you could go for a bigger haul, but that's probably gonna be the fight.
Yeah,
right.
I don't want too much attention there. I do use that right away to buy some more ammo and decks of cards to have some spare decks. You
do just that. The cards here are kind of shit, though. So if you would just mark those as spare decks, you're not going to be able to like do super fancy. They're like absolute garbage in this town. But great for your calling cards and other things. Because you run out of those as you're killing people.
So do I hear anything like through the day of the story of him biting his neck out?
I'm gonna think no. I'm gonna think in general people don't say much. They ask you more questions. Like, you ready for the fight, son? This guy, he's got these big, like, handlebar mustache, real white hair, slick back, cane, all that sort of thing. You ready for this? It's gonna be one of the hardest fights you've ever had.
Well, the first person I killed in my life was my mama when she birthed me, so I've been killing people as long as I've been alive.
He takes his hat and puts it over his chest. Son, I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know how that changed a fight outcome. I am sorry to hear that. He excuses himself like that was, and you're chewing bacon and pancakes when you say that, right? It's as Dobbs would, You don't hear much. Do you ask questions? Do you inquire, or do you just listen?
He's not somebody that would search out. He doesn't care. He wants to be completely unprepared.
Okay.
But if he heard something, he knows how to prepare to fight somebody.
You get the sense that there's a lot of respect. The few people you do run into, first for your eating, there is more of a reaction to that than anything else. But like, yeah, you get the sense that they just think it's going to be an intense fight. That's about all. They don't give you anything. They don't offer up much. All right. So you pick up your ammo. Any of you guys who want to shop from the catalog of goods, this is the place to do it. So pretty much whatever's available there, you can add it to your inventory later. Sorry, I'm gonna have a cough drop. They're delicious. Loaded with vitamin C as well. So the sun falls. The one thing I should mention, I guess, is inside of this big sort of, it's almost like a caldera if it was sort of just filled with sand. From the promenade watching during the daylight, every now and again, you could swear you see the sand shift. Like a giant snake is making its way through. And then some smaller ones here or there. Dobbs, you're there realizing like there's another bet. You're like, that's where you find your study and you're like, okay, that's what I gotta kill with my bare hands kind of thing. The sun falls as you guys are all standing there at the railing overlooking this big kind of gorge. It's fighting time. What do you guys do?
I definitely want to have at some point include maybe also John in on my little scheme, so that I have both Nate and John kind of in the know about my plan too, essentially.
Okay. Do you keep that from Dobbs, or do you let everybody know what's going on?
I don't think I tell Dobbs.
Okay.
I think I just tell Nate and John.
Okay.
And then as the time approaches, I think I would try and kind of like actively like seek out where this guy might be and like scope him out a little bit if he's making his way over. So you kind of make your way over to the bar and sort of hang out. Now the inside of the bar, there's obviously a bar along the back wall where you can pick up drinks, and then pretty much the ring is the predominant feature in the room. People start to kind of shove their way in. You don't see anybody that looks particularly intimidating, right? Anything scary. You're looking around, you see people kind of start to come in. A couple people recognize you. Ma'am, that was some fine shooting. Man, I've never seen anybody shoot. You shot the cigar right out of old Ernie's mouth. Things like that. You're clearly a local celebrity already. But you don't see any Cousin Eddie. Do you ask around? Yeah, I think so. She genuinely is curious, so she's not like lying or doing anything weird. She's just kind of like, doing the same thing, like kind of tapping the rumor mill, like, where is this guy? Where is he from? You know?
Well, rumor has it he chewed his way out when he was born. You get stuff like that. You get they keep him in a barn out back at his father's house. Ain't safe to bring him inside the main house.
Right. So how's he gonna? Did he get here like on a leash? Like how? What are we talking about here?
They laugh. You've seen this before? They laugh.
Well, from the stories you've been telling me, I had to make an inference.
Yeah, usually they actually give me a spirit roll. Let's see if you can give this guy a little bit of a charming.
Okay. 7.
All right.
Not too bad.
You're clearly just his type. See what they usually do. Every once in a while they'll throw chicken out there with him, let him have his way with it, pig or something like that. When it's time to come out and fight, they just put the leash around his neck and bring him on out.
Guess not really the drinking type, is he, huh?
Well, I don't know that I've ever seen him drink. That'd be kind of funny, seeing him get drunk. Kind of has a big laugh. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, I awkwardly laugh, realizing that my plan is probably shot, and I go find John and Nate to tell them the bad news.
So you guys are starting to see people come from kind of all over, right? The town, mostly sort of, the rough and tumble sorts. There's a couple of the local women or whatever that come in. No kids. Ash gathers you guys all up outside just as Dobbs, it's time to go in.
Okay.
I'm guessing, Ash, you haven't actually told us yet, right? Because we're standing there with Dobbs.
I mean, I assume so. I think that, I probably would have tried to, like, as this was all beginning to go down, kind of pull you guys aside and be like, so listen, we might have an issue with Operation Cousin Eddie. I don't know if that's what we were calling it, but seems as though he's kind of a bit more of a sideshow freak than I was anticipating. So if y'all can convince somebody to give him a shot of whiskey or something before we get started, then maybe. But from what I sees around town, he's not really the drinking sportsmanship type. So,
and at this point, like, you start to see a little bit of panic on Nate's face, which is it's uncharacteristic. Well, hell, Ash, it don't have to be a drink. All right, just get him to take the pills. That's your job. I'll get the toast. You figure out a way to get those pills to him.
No, but you're the one who's good at talking.
By the sounds of it, Cousin Eddie is not one that's in for talking. He's not one for talking.
Oh, all right. Shit. And Ash just like walks away and is like in her brain. She's like, can I find like a chicken leg or something to like put these in and throw at him? She's just like way off in her own mind. Like,
Nate, perhaps Chester Willis. He seems the more, at least feigns to be the hospitable, gentleman there. Perhaps he would be a route if we could try to make this part of a ceremony or something. You could convince him to do something. I've got an idea that I might be able to help during the fight, but unfortunately not for the fight. If you see me concentrating real hard, just try not to like interrupt me or anything during the fight.
Dobbs, you kind of are. You're all there. Are you guys trying to keep this from him at all? Just to be clear, so you guys are letting him hear you kind of have this conversation about all this stuff?
I certainly don't want Dobbs to know details. So anything that I've said that like out loud about details of what's happening, I do not say deliberately around Dobbs.
Okay. Okay. I want to be clear because okay.
Yeah. Same for me. I just kind of I feel like I keep on shooting glances over at Dobbs and just kind of giving him like a reassuring nod, like, you're gonna do great, bud.
Well,
but
that's a given.
So you you hear this bell ringing. Ding ding. It's kind of like a church bell. Somebody's banging on it with a hammer. That clearly means it's time for people to kind of gather. And you can start to see the stragglers. There's actually one young boy, he's probably, 12 years old, just hauling ass, little skinny, dirty kid, just running in.
I'm gonna pick him up and carry him.
You scoop him up.
I'm gonna give him, like, he's the only kid, dude. He's getting a first. I'm carrying him with one arm like this, just carrying him on my shoulder. I said, son, you gonna get a personal ride.
Mister, I ain't never had a ride on the shoulders of a man about to die before. He laughs.
You still haven't, son. You still haven't.
Well, we'll see. He kind of laughs. And he sort of falls silent, realizing that you could just kind of spike him like a football. You make your entrance with your posse around you, and there's this sort of like there's people pressed in around the ring. It's almost like an old school kind of underground boxing situation, and boxing is a thing in the big city. John, you'd know about that. Nate, you'd know about that. You guys start to kind of pile in, and of course they make the way, and you've got this kid on your shoulder, and he climbs off your shoulders. It kind of like bounces along the edge of the ring and just slinging on the ropes, just excited. You don't see any. You're looking around. You approach, and up comes your host in his top hat, his little short top hat. He comes up with his cane, his vest. I do believe we have some money that needs to be on the table before we get this affair on, don't we? He smiles. He's got a huge fistful of cash. Come on now, put it in.
I'll put in the money for myself and Dobbs. Just saying, Dobbs, don't worry. You've got other things to focus on. I'll come back for later.
He takes it
Nate's
all.
Got all my money.
I'll go to Nate for it.
Nate's got all my money.
I know.
Rich.
I know. It's so
I wouldn't
funny.
bring it to a place like this, Dobbs. I got a safe. Don't you worry.
So he comes to you and Ash, of course, and you sure you don't want to get in on this action? It's gonna be something.
Oh, it sure will.
I mean, I'll tell you what. I'll put down $1 or $2, and I hand over $2 because I'm very poor, and that's pretty much all I can afford.
So he's got a gentleman behind him. He's kind of a greasy little guy, and he's just kind of writing things down on a piece of paper, keeping everybody. What's your name? He takes your name, so he's got the amount that you paid. And so they kind of make their rounds. Get yourself comfortable, big fella. He walks up next to you. I do wish you the absolute best of luck. He smiles. What do you say?
I said, sir, I appreciate it, but luck never came into it.
Well, I guess not. He smirks and just walks away. And so then there's this sort of moment where he's kind of made his way around, where things start to get really rowdy. The energy of the crowd, alcohol is going around. How are you positioned around this room?
There's a ring, right? Like
Yep. There's an absolute ring. Yeah. So do you try to get right up against the ring? Dobbs has got a corner, of course.
Yeah, Nate's going to be right there at the corner with Dobbs, maybe off the ring, where Dobbs kind of up on the ring or what have you, but he's there on the corner with him.
Okay. Ash, what about you? You're frantically. You're just like, oh, what did you settle on for your deployment method, or do you want to wait and tell me when it comes time?
I think I'll wait.
Okay.
But I think Ash is kind of trying to, like, she's like going through her pockets and like thinking about different options that she has, and then like maybe like holding on to like a shot and a bottle, just being like, I don't. But I think she probably positions herself actually kind of closer over to where Cousin Eddie's corner is going to be, because she wants to kind of like maybe have a scope of the ring from his side.
You do. So you generally kind of position yourselves in. And John, what about you? So whereabouts in the room? Are you right up on the ring as well?
I want to be anywhere I can have a slight height kind of advantage to see over the crowd. I don't want to be right in the ring, but hopefully have a clear shot of the ring. Yeah, ideally like in more midsection of the ring, not one of the corners. Okay, so you could theoretically put a chair against the back wall and stand in it if you wanted to, but pretty much other than that, you're ground level, right? Got it. I'll kind of sit on a table with my feet like on the chair or whatever to just kind of get like maybe a slight boost up. Okay. But nothing like too overt.
Okay, so you find a decent enough accommodation where you can kind of see it's like a little like a shoe shining stool or some such thing that you kind of pull over or whatever. Nobody seems to pay you any mind. You're kind of out of the line of fire, as it were. Things start to get much louder as you settle and kind of have eye line on where everyone is. Your host steps up into the ring, kind of walks over to Dobbs, kind of twirling his cane. Are you ready for this fight, young man? I think you look ready. You look mighty ready, he says. You just
look at him.
You just stare him down.
I just look at him.
So he turns away from you and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, in this corner we have, what's your name again, son?"
Dobbs.
Mr. Dobbs, who has come to challenge the one, the only, the man-eating mangler, Cousin Eddie! And at this point, walking from this sort of swinging double doors in the front of the saloon is this ape of a human being. He's got the biggest, darkest, most sinister unibrow you've ever seen in your life. And his brow is just like, he's got this like Neanderthal kind of brow as he kind of sort of comes walking in, shoves a woman out of his way. She's just standing there watching kind of in the back he just shoves. And apparently the husband just kind of like, "Oh dear, let's get out of the way." He kind of comes walking in, everybody parts. And he just steps up onto the ring. He doesn't really even grab the rope. He just sort of steps up into it and then turns and looks back at his handler. His handler kind of is looking at him and tells him to turn around and points, and he kind of looks over at you and he climbs through the rope. "Cousin Ellie!" Everybody sort of cheers. What is Dobbs doing?
He's gonna yawn.
You yawn. He's standing there sort of slack-shouldered. Ash, what are you doing?
Oh, I think you're muted.
Hey, we lost your audio.
No, it's good. It was my headset. I swipe 2 shot glasses off the bar and a little bit of tequila or whiskey or beer, whatever, just whatever liquid. And I kind of like quickly put the pills into one of them and I try to like crush them up a little bit. I feel like I might have done that in advance.
Yeah, I think you
so
have.
I dose one of them.
Okay.
And then I kind of like give Nate the like, I don't know, from across the way, and then I make my way up to Nate, I guess, and hand off the goods and just say, I kind of with a flourish a little bit, just kind of to what was his name, Chester. I kind of just look at him, just go, "We're gonna make this a nice fair fight. It's tradition, if you don't mind." And then I hand the things to Nate, and I kind of like just on the sly, kind of like tap the one that I'm handing him, just being like, "This one, this is the one."
Yeah. So Nate takes the drinks and very grandiose sort of hands it to him, and he holds it real high, and he says, "May you have the hindsight to know where you've been, the foresight to know where you're going, and the insight to have placed the bet on the right man," and taps the edge of the glass with him.
So with you walk up to Cousin Eddie and say that, or how does that work?
So
you've got a dose shot and you've got a not dose shot. And you walk up and say all that to the Neanderthal guy? Is that what I'm saying?
So,
yeah?
Yeah.
He
that
literally, I wish I could portray
handing
this.
one to Eddie, one to Dobbs.
Yeah, I think maybe like I feel like I would have like pushed Dobbs into the ring, maybe like just been like,
sure, yeah.
So you kind of pass it off to Dobbs. You're walking around saying this as you hold it up. You kind of go to hand it to Cousin Eddie. His head is like that much taller than a normal person's head. He's just gargantuan. He's just not. And he's sort of staring at you, and he doesn't seem to give a damn. And he's like, and he just reaches out with his hand and just grabs your hand with the shot glass in it. And you feel the slick grossness of his mouth as he just and almost lifts you up. Yeah, he's picking something out of his tooth. It's a little. You slip back and he lets out this horrible yell. And then he just starts kind of stomping around, and his eyes get super crazy. What do? You step back? Do you stay in his face?
No. I step back. Right, I'm not trying to be confrontational. I'm trying to play this off as good sportsmanship, may the best man win kind of a thing, with maybe a little bit of a jab there in the middle, but that's it. And so yeah, I step back and let him show.
So Dobbs having the horrible habit that he does, takes the drink and sits there for a minute and just spits right in Cuzzy's face a big wad of tobacco.
Oh shit! Okay, so let's.
Because I have to.
You do.
It's a bad habit. I have to do it.
You do.
It's a major hindrance.
So you step in and basically come face to face as he brings you in. Cousin Eddie, I mean, he's just frantic and his eyes are darting all over the place, and he kind of stares you down, and you can smell him. He smells like animal shit, right? Like you keep him in a barn, he smells like a barn. He smells like an animal. And he's kind of, and you just and spit right in his face. And just about that moment, all right then, and there's a ding, 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 and the fight begins. Everybody goes batshit crazy. Let's see how this plays out. So let's get some initiative here. I don't have him on the map, so oops. There we go. So pull a card, Byron.
I'm trying to. 1 second, sorry.
So he has Ace of Hearts.
I'm also pulling a card to be an initiative, if that's all right.
I will let you act in and out when it makes sense, because you're not contending for time, really.
Okay, so go ahead.
I got a Joker.
Oh shit!
Nice.
Everybody gets an extra Benny. You guys get an extra Benny, so add in the Bennies. And yeah, so you get to act whenever you see fit. So how does this play out? This ding, 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 and he's like, he's drooling, and he does have sharp teeth. Yep. You've never seen anything like this.
So as soon as the bell rings, he gets 2 fists. Because I'm 2-fisted, so I get an extra attack with my offhand.
Okay.
And he just gets a jab and an uppercut immediately.
Nice.
Can I say as a ready to action? So basically, I'm going to be casting a boost trait on Dobbs and a lower trait on Cousin Eddie. For the first one, I want to boost for Dobbs and boost his
fucking
strength.
Hang on. Look at that roll. So for those of you on the podcast, he rolled a 22 of for his first hammer time roll and a 12 for the second one. So what were you doing, John? So you're going to cast...
the first action I want to do is a boost on Dobbs to boost his strength, and then I will boost or lower the vigor of Cousin Eddie, and it'll last 5 rounds.
Is that lows are 1 die type? Or is it negative?
Yes, 1? Unless I raise, then it's 2. So, which that you can't raise wild die, or no?
No. Yeah, you can.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
You can ace.
So you get a boost of 2 die for your strength, Dobbs. If it's already a D12, then it's a +2.
I'm gonna have to re-roll then.
So let's assume because
you could probably just add.
So Dobbs acted first because Dobbs had the Joker. So you will hit after this. After this attack's resolved, you'll hit him.
Okay,
perfect.
Not a problem. So
and Cousin Eddie's vigor is lowered by 2 die.
So my first roll was a 7 to hit.
Oh shit! I was looking at the wrong.
And my second roll was a 22 to hit.
Yeah, I saw the 22. So the first one, so go ahead and give me the collective damage for each of those. So it's 12 and 7.
12 and 7.
Okay, got it. So the first one, which is ironically not the best place blow, absolutely
damage.
Shakes him. So he basically he seems really taken aback by that, but he is going to spend a Benny to remove that condition because he can do that whenever he wants. And your second blow comes in right behind that.
Yep, and I'm gonna spend a Benny to reroll damage on the second blow.
Okay, can do.
I did less. All
Yep.
right.
So he snaps out of that first
With
blow.
a 6.
And you kind of you hit him, and man, you did a good. It's like he almost sampled what you're capable of, and he stiffens. And the second one, you hit him, and his head just kind of he says, and he proceeds to attack as well. Let's see how he does. Whew. So Dobbs, what's your parry? It's something ridiculous, I think.
8.
So he's, let's see, I have 2 more bennies left. He's gonna, so you, how do you block it? So he kind of comes in and just hits you in the body, and you sort of block him with your shoulder. John, this is about the time where you, for whatever reason, Dobbs, you feel this really nice tingly. You're just like, oh, like, man, just adrenaline's just rushing like crazy as John's spell takes effect. So you will
then
have
the lower on Eddie, he can resist that by an imposed spirit roll. So he would need to beat a 10.
He's got to be okay. Let's do that. He's not got a lot of spirit, sadly. He can't beat that unless he raises a whole bunch. Come on. Nope. So yeah.
His vigor, because I explode on that one, would be lowered by 2 dice as well. And that's basically me yelling, "Go Dobbs, you beat that stupid piece of shit," or something like that.
Yeah. So Dobbs, it is your turn. So basically, he swats you in the side. Everyone seems just taken aback. The crowd, give me notice checks for those of you who are not John, because John's very busy, but Ash and Nate. Which one of those am I looking at? 2 notices.
Take the first one. It took a while to go through, so I hit it a second time.
Got it. So, yeah, you're just watching this like, wow, this fight, man, these guys are powerful. These blows going back and forth. Ash, you notice there are a couple people in the crowd that don't seem so entertained. They're sort of whispering amongst themselves, pointing. One guy kind of nods. There are 4 in total, and they start kind of filtering out among the crowd. What do you do?
Do they look like they're like getting into position to pull something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what your spidey sense tells you.
I begin to kind of follow one of them.
Okay.
Just kind of casually, like moving through the crowd and maybe like interposing myself between 2 of them if I can.
Okay.
Keeping eyes on them.
You do. So there's 2 that are almost kind of following one another, and just sort of your actions, you kind of move in between them, and you kind of make eye contact with the one guy who seems like he is bothered by the fact that you're in the way, and he's kind of trying to catch up with his buddy. Dobbs, it is your action. What do you do? Spotlight's on you. People are shouting crazy stuff.
So I have a quick question about one of my new edges, because I'm not sure I quite understand how it works.
Okay.
So I have feint, and so what feint does, it allows me to make my opponent resist with smarts instead of agility. So I don't know if that changes his parry, or what does that do?
It would actually. What page is that on, Byron?
Well, the thing itself is just in the chart. It doesn't give anything else.
Hang on.
That. But it is on page 60.
Let's just have a look at that. There's probably a little bit more description here.
So it says you can choose to make a foe resist with smarts instead of agility during a fighting test.
Yeah, so that would essentially that would more or less be like you're sort of using your movements against him.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of just raw fighting back and forth, yeah, absolutely. So it would actually ruin his parry.
Cool. Because that's what I'm going to do to him every single fucking round.
So you come in, and then his smarts, unfortunately, are a little trumped, and as is his strength at this point. So you kind of juke in and describe to me your blow. So you kind of, obviously, it's not just one blow and then one blow. You guys are flinging punches and hitting each other.
Oh, yeah, I get 2 every round, so.
Yeah.
So I just kind of, I'm keeping my distance and just kind of like pap, pap, just jabs, just boom, boom, kind of ducking and just boom, boom, boom. Kind of Mike Tyson, you know?
Yeah.
Like he hits with just dodging blows and stuff. I mean, this is a fist fight, like toe to toe. So
absolutely.
No one's really seen Dobbs fight like this before.
Yeah. So you're going back and forth. So go ahead and give me your 2 shots for your 2-fistedness.
Okay, so I made the adjustment to my character sheet for John's.
Okay. Ooh.
So that's the first attack.
Yep. So you're gonna miss with that one. So his parry is nope. Wait, hang on.
I can spend a Benny to reroll the 1 attack, though, right?
You can if you want. Yeah.
Well, so we'll go 3. So there you go. So a 10 for the first one and a 13 for the second one.
I love that it says hammer time. You So you kind of step in for the first one, and you will hit in both scenarios. So go ahead and give me your damage. The first one is 10.
10 and 16.
And actually, it looks like you should still be getting your strength is normally a D12 anyways, right?
It is now. With your adjustment, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's normally D10.
I was at a D8.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was at a D8, so I adjusted it to a D12, so it should be accurate.
So describe for me. You have surprised him. So you're coming in with jabs. He's hitting you. You're pushing each other around, and basically you kind of fling him off the ropes. And these blows happen in the rebound, right? He's coming off the ropes back toward you. What is that? What does it look like?
Yeah, I'm just like pop, 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 just like straight on, just like complete focus. Just he is just a tree, not moving, and I'm just moving around him and just hitting him as fast as I can.
So your first blow, just thinking about the strategic aspect of this, the first blow is going to shake him. He's going to spend his second Benny to remove that. But again, he kind of, and only to come back into the next one, which then shakes him again. And he is wobbling there at this point. You notice something's going on. Like his eyes don't look quite right. And I mean, his pupils are this big around. He's just like, with that giant unibrow as he teeters there. He will forego his action because he's chasing the dragon right now, thanks to Ash. What do you do, Dubs? Nate, what do you...
Nate's ringside, right? Like, and he's sort of like watching this whole thing, and he's sort of like waiting to see that signal that it actually worked, and he starts to see like this. He's slowing down, and Nate's starting to feel a bit relieved.
At this point, Ash, so you've stepped in between these couple people. Your sort of attention is off. There's like fisticuffs happening behind you. It happens all the time. This guy's out the way, lady, he says as he kind of bumps into you.
Yeah, I think I kind of like, as he bumps into me, I'll kind of like, hold my ground a little bit and bump back and just kind of be like, man, you out the way. I gotta see this fight. Look at those boys go. And kind of like, almost like tries to like grab him and spin him around towards the ring and just be like, look at this, like really excited.
He turns, not wanting to be rude, right? He's got a little bit of a gentleman to him, and he give me a persuasion roll, I think.
Oh geez. Oh no.
Oh, wild dice saves you for a 9. So you turn him, and he kind of looks, and then this is when it's getting real, and Dobbs is punching, and his eyes get about this big, and as soon as he sees Cousin Eddie sort of teetering there, you see him reach for his gun. Yeah, I see it, he says.
Yeah, I immediately am gonna try and trip him if I can.
Okay, give me a fighting roll.
Oh dear.
Nice. Yep. So This guy, so you trip him, you tangle up with him, you don't knock him to the ground. Lady, what in the hell are you doing? As he's got his arm in his coat. Nate, you glancing around would notice this. What do you do, Ash?
I put my hand on my gun belt and I give the guy a look like, now, this is supposed to be a fair fight, sir. And I wouldn't do that if I were you. And I've got like my hand on my own pistol.
Intimidate away. Give me that roll.
God, I really gotta up
she's
this.
Doing that, does Nate recognize these as the guy from the gathering, or is he able to tell?
Ooh.
You do not recognize these guys. One of them might have been at a bar, but it wasn't the guys that were talking and pointing and walking away. It definitely was not those guys. Those guys looked a little higher class, maybe. So Ash, he kind of, basically, he sort of looks at you, and he's going to try to... Nah. So, you ain't got to pull a weapon on me, ma'am. I ain't not trying to start no trouble, I promise. Why don't we just calm down now? And calm down. Ain't no need for that. And he glances over your shoulder.
You take your hand off your gun belt and let the boys continue their match, and then we won't have a problem.
Now, so pause. So Dobbs, Cousin Eddie during this time is sort of teeter-tottering, and you're there. What do you do?
I'm going to just kind of like, just take that moment and just pummel this, just push him in the corner and just boom, 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 just rain blows down on him like from the firmament.
Okay, so nice. So give me 4 rolls. Now, are you fighting? Oh wow, are you fighting fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, completely.
Oh my gosh.
We think that. So
that one didn't hit. You said 4 blows.
Yeah. So you're hitting him, boom, boom, boom. The 18 is the one that I'm particularly interested in. Go ahead and roll for damage on that one. And so you basically, he's already shaken, and you just and knock him down. He's wounded now, and he's bleeding out of his nose and out of his mouth. He's down. Nobody's counting or nothing. Now, you heard about this boxing thing. There's some counting, and you can fall down a couple times. What do? You just leave him there?
My goal was to punch his teeth out because I don't like just jagged ass.
Oh, nice. So I'm
going to make sure he never bites another fucker ever again.
What's crazy is his eyes are just fixed on yours, Dobbs, as you're just beating him. His eyes are wide, and every time is like you are knocking his teeth the fuck out. And he's just looking at you like he doesn't feel a damn thing. And you're just... And at some point you hear ding, 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 ding. You have interrupted. Things are going a little crazy. But you see... So you Ash, back to you. You've sort of gotten in between the one guy. You're facing off with him. Nate, you see the guy that was walking in front kind of turn looking back for his comrade right about the time this happens. And there's this huge uproar in the room. What do you guys do?
So as Nate sees that Dobbs has got it, he's starting to piece together like there's going to be a lot of unhappy people here, and then so he sees the sort of the communication that's going on too, and so he immediately started to make his way towards Ash. They have that little bit of an exchange. I think Nate would start to look for John as well, right? So I know where Dobbs is, I know where Ash is. As I'm walking towards Ash, would I see John anywhere?
I'm thinking, looking around the room, you would see John standing up on his stool, kind of there, and you would also, I'm guessing, notice like he has to concentrate for this sort of to keep the effect up. Is that the way it works, right? So you could sort of. It
doesn't specify, but that's how I'm imagining it. I'm like zoned in until the bell rings.
Yeah, so Nate just kind of makes a mental note of where John is, and then starts making his way towards Ash for the sort of confrontation that's going on there.
Okay, so just about that time, you kind of round the corner, and not even paying any attention to what's going on in this room, right? You see this around him in the crowd. You see this guy draw a pistol and take aim at Dobbs, who was just on top of Cousin Eddie, just a pummeling. You're right there. And Ash has got one corner. You're kind of walking toward her, And you just now realize this guy was sort of his comrade walking in front of the 4 men. 2 went this way, 2 went the other way.
All right, I think it's the first time I've actually used this.
Uh-oh.
But Nate, not wanting to, he's not the flashy guy. He's not going to pull out a gun and bam, but he is going to try to discreetly flip his cane up and twist that handle to the left, pointing the hilt of it up at this guy's chest. And as far as he is concerned, well, we could talk about motives later, but yeah, that's what he's going to do.
And it's a shotgun shell, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So let's have a stealth check to make sure that he does not.
Okay,
Wild die say. So you guys tie. So in this specific case, he does notice as you're pulling your cane up. But he's not really sure what's going on. He's got his eye on Dobbs. He's taking aim, and he kind of glances over at you like, "What the hell are you doing?" At which point you're gonna be able to shoot him. It's gonna be +2 for you because you're awful close, and he's an extra, so no bennies. I'm not gonna save this guy's life.
So I don't know if I actually have this set up correctly or not. So let's just see what I got here.
That's just damage.
Oh. Okay, so it's damage. So then to roll to hit for a shotgun.
Yeah, you would use your shooting.
Probably just be shooting.
Yeah, you use your shooting
If you
roll
change the
+2.
button below it, you can change it to attack and damage.
Yeah.
The button behavior.
Yeah, it's a custom item that I made, and I very likely have not set it up correctly.
Yeah,
which is fine. So I'll do a shooting roll.
Nice.
And then that would be my damage.
So your wild die is a 9.
Ooh,
You didn't have the +2,
bonus
so
damage.
11. Right. So you basically put this thing. You tell me. How does that? I mean, you're going to shoot this guy.
Yeah.
With your cane.
So Nate is starting to catch wind of what's going on, and so he's sort of walking over to Ash, and he just sees this guy sort of turn to Dobbs, and he's gonna catch me out of his peripheral, and he's gonna look at me, and I'm just in a single motion, flip the cane up and twist, and just within 6 inches of his chest.
You blow his
and just
lungs out of
fire.
his back all over the people behind him. Just like is just a rain of blood. Obviously, this creates this huge commotion as there's a shot fired. Ash, what do? This guy immediately just jerks his pistol out of the holster.
I'm gonna try and shoot that gun right out of that guy's hand.
Okay, so you are going to. It is your action, so you're going to do that.
Four.
So you do hit him. Let's have some damage. I might spend a GM betting on this guy. Yeah. So you wing him. So you kind of pull your gun up and as he spins his bend, you blow part of his earlobe off. Kind of goes, in a shower of earlobe, if that's a thing. But he jinks to the side, and he's actually going to turn and attempt to shoot you as well. However, having just been shot and with the chaos, he's going to roll -2. Oh, damn. So that's poor. So he doesn't get a wild die because he's an extra. So he literally shoots this dude right in the face, like that's standing right next to you. He's there with his beverage, just watching the fight. He just blows brain everywhere, and you just kind of are right there.
So bad.
And that, folks, is what happens when you roll a 0 for the people that are listening to the podcast later.
Oof.
So rolling back around, so John's concentrating. Dobbs, you're knocking this guy's teeth in. Nate, you've just blasted this guy all over the place. There are 2 others who are able to act. One of them is not going to be at a deficit. Jesus, come on. I have 2 bennies left. I'm going to spend 1. Ah, damn. So, I fucking hate dice. I'm just telling you, it hits you. So Nate, you kind of, and you hear, something hits basically the edge of the ring, and just kind of ricochets off into the wall or something, as you now know that you're being shot at by one individual. And the other guy is running, running through the crowd. You're not so sure he's an assailant yet, right? So he's out there, but he's running around the corner. What do you do?
I would call out. So just sort of paint the picture here. I'm within 10 feet of Ash, right? Like, like I was approaching. Okay. So I would sort of blast this guy, and then as I would try my best to call out his position to Ash, and then try to duck behind a chair or get lost in the crowd or something, because I got no more tricks. Like, I just got to get the hell out of Dodge.
Okay, give me let's have an athletics check and see how well you avoid notice. Okay, so you basically just plow in and wind up kind of, just kind of, balling up in a wad underneath the table as the bullets really start to fly.
Yep.
Ash.
Just gonna keep on trying to disarm people. So the guy in front of me still is holding his weapon, right?
He is, absolutely. You just blew his ear off, basically. And now he shot it. Yeah, so it's coming.
I'm gonna just take another shot. I'm trying to do the like shoot to disarm thing. I'm not trying to kill people right now, but if it happens, it happens.
Okay, so you can make a called shot if you want to. You're gonna have a penalty, and in this specific situation, I'm gonna say that's given all your, I'll say it'll be just -2 with all the chaos.
Okay, so that I rolled a 6, so that would be a 4.
Yep. So tell me, you disarm how? So he's got his gun aiming at you. You just shoot him in the hand or something? Yeah,
I just do this classic thing where I like, wing the gun, probably like get the bullet in his like thumb, kind of, and.
Yeah. So you blow 2 of his fingers off. You're just like, and he's just, and they're kind of hanging loose, right? As he's now spurting blood everywhere and drops to the ground. And just, people are running like crazy. Now all of a sudden you're shooting, so people around you are spreading out. Most of the guys here seem to not want to necessarily defend these guys, which is interesting to you. Dobbs, bullets are now flying. So you just hit this guy, and all of a sudden fire breaks out. What do you do?
So Dobbs just is in his zone. When he's like in a fight like this, he doesn't really pay attention to what's going on around him and stuff. So he's just focused on the fight. So he's gonna scoop up I'm gonna say a handful of teeth off the mat or whatever that belonged to cousin Eddie's. Yeah. And he's just gonna kind of turn around and be like, "Now I know some of y'all might have lost some money here today, but I want you to go home with some souvenirs." So he just kind of chucks cousin Eddie's teeth into the crowd. He's like, "Then there's the last day you ever saw cousin Eddie eat solid food."
Were it not for the bullets flying as you're doing that, and cousin Eddie is happily, tripping on whatever meds Ash gave him. He was such a fair fight for you too. I'm so sad. Well done. But so you say this, and some people hear it, and there are actually a couple people that are like kind of clapping at this point. So you notice you throw this out. Actually, give me a notice roll. Let's see if you realize what's going on.
Okay, so I do have
you have danger sensors.
The thing that allows me to get a +2 to notice an ambush for like ambush rolls or something like that. Would that be applicable?
I'm gonna say no, just because it's really chaotic. There's not like somebody lying in wait for you as you approach. Jeez. Still, Wild Die explodes to 15. Focus. So you notice just as you throw teeth, the teeth bounce off the chest of a guy, some of them, and he's aiming a pistol at you.
I just look at him.
You just are like, "What the hell are you doing?" kind of thing.
I'm like, that's what I just did to a guy that wasn't armed, son. Unless you want to eat that pistol, you better put that fucker back in the holster.
Give me an intimidate roll. It's going to be -2 though, because he's pretty sure he's going to shoot you. He's following some orders here.
So I don't have intimidate, so I'm going to go with unskilled.
That's fine. Wow. No.
0.
No, he literally, I mean, you're unarmed. He looks at you. He just laughs. And he's gonna shoot you.
How far away is he?
He is probably 10 feet, something like that.
Okay.
So he will hit. And you are going to, what is it, Peacemaker damage? These guys
That is a 2d6
plus 1.
Okay,
Yep.
plus 1. Right. Oops, shit, not plus 12.
I want that gun.
Yeah. Woo! So he apparently. No, wait a minute. That's yeah.
It's still
No.
plus.
No, damn it, it's still the
That's
same plus 12.
1d6
So
plus
seven.
12.
Shape, yeah, plus 2. Okay, there we go. There's plus 1 or plus 2.
Plus 1, so that would be 5 damage.
5. Got it. So Dobbs, you get shot. What's your toughness?
7.
You get shot like just in your knuckle. As you're kind of pointing at him and like yeah, I did this or whatever, he skims just the edge of your knuckle. And kind of you start to bleed, and obviously you know he's really serious. And he reaches up and will be cocking to shoot again. You'll obviously be able to engage him on your turn. John, what are you doing? So there's suddenly you're aware of what's happening, right? You're
Right.
focused.
Yeah, I'm immediately like I snap out of it. The bell's rung and I'm kind of coming to, but then as soon as I hear gunfire, like I'm, full in. So as if I see the guy that takes a shot at Dobbs, there's not even a hesitation. I'm going to shoot that guy.
Okay. And he's completely unaware you're there, so you're gonna have a plus 2. You don't want to shoot
Perfect.
people running past you. Oh my God! He rolls a 17. Are your dice broken? They did though.
Oh,
All right.
That's it.
Nice. So
shoot.
let's have some
I
damage.
can just hit this. Switch to damage only. Oh, ouch.
So you, Dobbs, as this guy's looking at you and he's about to aim, you just see the front of his face explode outward in a shower of blood. And then you see, of course, the smoking gun barrel from John as he shoots the guy in the back of the head and just sends him falling to the ground. There's one more left in the crowd.
I'm going to just make a quick quip, though, that nothing wrong with shooting as long as the right people get shot.
That may be the name of the episode. I also wrote down what Len said about drinking in her feet. What did I say? Drinking in her cups. She was in her cups. Yeah. Failing his spirit check, the remaining individual, this assailant, turns and hauls ass. You don't know where the ringleader went. Suddenly, though, he turns. There are men with shotguns who have made their way into the bar. There's a handful of them, and dusters and that sort of thing, looking fairly serious. One of them pulls the trigger, shutting all of the noise down, right, as you do, shooting the ceiling kind of thing. Boom! What in tarnation's going on here? He shouts. They just started shooting. They started shooting at the champion. This one guy's, no, they tried to kill him. And he's just completely confused as to what's happening. What do you guys, do you jump in on this? Do you try to help explain?
Yeah, I think Ash is immediately like, kind of has her gun, still holding it, but is like holding it up like, please don't shoot me. And she just kind of shouts like, "Now, I was just trying to tell these boys to let these fine gentlemen have a fair fight, and this one tries to take a shot at my friend Dobbs here in the ring. I think that's cheating." And she slams on a table.
Give me a persuasion roll.
Oh, why persuasion?
I'll give you an extra Benny for being so convincing as well. So.
Oh my God, I'm so bad at this.
You should develop that. It's suddenly be, whoa, I'll die. Is a 4. Is that this little lady saying? Is that the truth? And the other guy, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. They just started shooting. Dobbs, what do? You hear all this around. You're kind of standing up there.
I'm going to look at Cousin Eddie, and then I'm going to look back at the guy that asked what was going on. And I'll be like, now, would it make any sense for my friends to shoot anybody? Like, it looks like Cousin Eddie lost.
And just as you say that, you're looking down at him, and he goes, with his gums sticking out. Where in the Sam Hale is Chester? I don't know. He's so there's this big kind of commotion, right?
I yell, "That's a great question. He owes us a lot of money."
Yeah, I bet he does. So we'll stop here, I think, because we're pressing on toward the end of our time. God, I hate Dobbs so much. Like, you can't. I'm going to start having Dobbs fight things like trains. Bye.